What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm gonna talk about my experience attempting to run a marathon on very little preparation. So on Wednesday, August 12th, I decided it would be a good idea to attempt a marathon with very little preparation, and by that I mean very little physical training and then very little nutritional preparation. So the day I attempted to run a marathon, honestly, I didn't really have an idea that I wanted to run it that day, but I knew I was wearing my new running shoes, the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2s, which if you guys have not used those shoes before, they are very light and very comfortable. So I highly recommend you guys getting them. And I have no connection with Nike for this product. I'm just giving you guys my perspective on the Nike Pegasus Turbo 2s. So nonetheless, I went on my run. I was probably 8 miles in and I was like feeling really good. The shoes were comfortable, my legs were feeling good, my mind was good, my breathing was good, so I decided to keep going further. I got to the 13-mile mark, which, if you guys know, is right around the half marathon point. A full marathon is 26.2 miles, so I got right at like 13.1. If you're from the DMV area, specifically Montgomery County, I ran from Clarksburg High School all the way to Quince Orchard High School, taking mostly the back roads, and that was right around 13 miles. So just a disclaimer for anyone that is watching this video, I have never ran a marathon in my life before. I just wanted to see how far I could push my body with very little training and very little nutritional preparation for the marathon as well. So the furthest I've actually ran in one run was 13 miles. So I ran a half marathon without stopping, with no water, with pretty much not much nutritional prep either for that one. So in my head, I was like, all right, if I ran 13, I could probably push it a little bit further. Now, can I get a whole nother 13 to complete the marathon? That was kind of the question. So my first 9 miles, I was right around an 8-minute pace, and that is pretty solid. It's not great, but it's not awful either. I would say it's pretty average in terms of competitive times. Put it this way, if you qualify for the Boston Marathon, you need to finish your marathon in 3 hours and 10 minutes. So it's roughly right at like a 7-minute pace, which is unreal if you really think about that, because now you're actually having to hold that pace for 26 miles, which is unreal. So shout out to all those people that qualify for the Boston Marathon. You guys are unreal. So right after mile 9, I actually started to, I was slowing down slightly. So my miles probably averaged out at like 8:30 for miles like 9 to 13. But when I hit that 13-mile mark, I started to slow down. I felt like I had to walk a little bit. I was just getting cramps in my quads, in my hamstrings, and in my stomach as well. And I think obviously at this point, I had worked out at a fasted state, which basically means that you work out while you have not eaten anything besides the meal that you had the night before. So when I woke up, I drank some water, foam rolled a little bit, and then I basically just threw my shoes on and I went on for the run. So very little preparation in terms of nutrition. So I didn't really carb up heavy in the morning, and I didn't have any water with me actually on the run. So it wasn't until I got to the half marathon point that I actually saw some old coaches I knew at my high school, and they actually gave me a water bottle to kind of finish off my second part of the marathon. So I started my descent back up to Clarksburg, which was another 13 miles away from where I was. And obviously I was still fighting the cramps in my quads and my hamstrings. If you guys have ever got full body cramps like that before, it is the worst feeling when you're trying to stretch your quad because it's cramping, and then your hamstring immediately starts to cramp as well. Obviously my body was not nutritionally ready for this. I was dehydrated. I had very little fuel to actually run off of, and basically I was running off just sheer will and determination to just finish the marathon. Like in my head, even as I got to mile 15, I made like a little story on my Instagram. I was basically like, look, if I have to walk the rest of these miles, I will. And I was I believed in every little bit of that as I said it. In my mind, I was fully prepared to walk the rest of it, and I would have been willing to die almost on that marathon in a sense. But as I started getting to mile 15, 16, 17, I literally was struggling to find my cadence. I tried to pick up my pace and jog slightly, but every time I would, it was getting super hot, and I started feeling my body just getting more dehydrated and almost like a dizzy feeling. So I would walk, and basically what I try to do is I would try to walk like a quarter mile and then try to jog half a mile and kind of go in that cadence of walking and jogging, walking and jogging. The craziest thing was it was hurting more to walk than it did to jog, just because as I was walking, I don't know if it's because the lactic acid was starting to sit in my legs, but my quads and hammies both were getting super, super tight. Right when I got to mile 15, I called one of my buddies because he lived right in the area I was at. And I was like, yo, can you please drop me off a water bottle? So he blessed me. He dropped me off with a water bottle, so a small care package. And he asked me, do you want me to take you home? And I was like, no, I got like 10 miles left. I'm gonna just finish it out. If I have to walk it, then I will. So I basically walked another 3 miles from where I saw him at the 15-mile mark, and I got to mile 18. And honestly, my body did not have much more fuel to give. Mentally I was ready to finish it, but I had to just take a step back because I felt like my body was starting to break down because I did not prep the right way and I did not treat my body the right way. So I was just being smart with it. So I completed the 18 miles in 3 hours and 11 minutes roughly. So I'm gonna insert the Nike running app here so you guys can see all my split times and my miles and how many calories I burned. But yeah, I basically finished 18 miles in the time where most people, if they qualify for the Boston Marathon, finish a Boston Marathon, which is basically 26 miles in 3 hours and 10 minutes. So I basically completed 18 miles in that same span, which, for my first attempt is not awful. I'm definitely excited at the fact that I was able to complete 18 miles with the preparation that I did, but I'm obviously not satisfied with obviously not completing it. It's obviously a failure that I have to now try to build and turn into a win in a sense. But that's kind of gonna be my next goal. So my goal is to finish a marathon. Obviously, reaching to get the Boston Marathon time would be awesome, but just completing it without my body feeling that breakdown is kind of what I'm looking for. Most people that I've talked to that have ran marathons have always told me that, miles 17, 18, 19, like that's kind of where everyone hits that wall. And you have to kind of make that internal decision of like, am I gonna push through that wall or am I gonna kind of feel sorry for myself? So mentally, I feel like I'm able to push through that wall, but I think the next time around, I'm hoping that my body is also gonna be able to push as well. So that's gonna be my goal for the next 3 to 4 weeks, is completing a marathon in under 3 hours and 45 minutes. Quick PSA, if you guys are watching this video, I definitely do not recommend doing what I did. Attempting to run a marathon off very little food, off very little training, and very little hydration is probably not a smart idea. So my tips for people that are attempting to do a marathon or want to do one is find the proper training that fits into your schedule and to your routine, right? If you don't want to qualify for a Boston Marathon, you just want to complete one, that is awesome. That is a great accomplishment that you should be proud of. I would highly recommend find a workout program that is going to fit you and your schedule. Obviously, everyone's lives are different, so fitting your training into your own schedule is going to be important. My second advice is getting proper nutrition in your system before you actually go on for that run. The night before, you should probably be carbing up a ton. Even the day before you start the run, getting some type of carbs in your system and obviously hydrating properly is going to help you keep some more energy throughout the actual 26.2 miles. You do not want to get full body cramps when you're on the run because it literally demoralizes your mentality, and that's the last thing you guys want to do is when you're out on a hot run is feeling the cramps because you did not eat and you did not drink properly the day before and the morning before the run. And then the last piece of advice would be obviously bringing some type of snacks with you or setting up those rest stations so that you guys can have an idea of when I get to mile 10, mile 15, or mile 20 that I'm gonna quickly stop, get a quick nutritional bar in, or getting some type of electrolytes or some type of water in your system so that you guys know that there is a landmark that you're looking for to obviously get some fuel back into your system. I hope you guys gained some value and some insight to my stupid experience of attempting a marathon with very little training and very little nutrition. I hope you guys watch this that you do not do the stupid mistake that I did. Train properly, get the nutrition in you, and be smart when you're out there running because obviously it is a very difficult task. If you guys are new to the channel, I'd love it if you subscribe and make sure you guys hit that bell icon so you guys get notified when I complete my next marathon, but also when I do other challenges and other videos. But until next time, I appreciate you all watching. Deuces.